Alright, so I had a real heck of a time getting that guy's head on there to stay, but I finally did. So we'll just go ahead and end the video there. He's on his little base, and what we're going to have to do now is actually take apart some of these pieces. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe we'll have to get some of that, and some of that might need to spend some time getting this stuff off. But I just wanted to talk about the tool that I've used now for a while. I don't know if there's other hobby knives. The Tamiya was the one I saw and was able to pick up offline. Offline. I had to get it online because I don't know of any other place that around here that sells this in a store. But this thing is phenomenal. I wish I'd had this a long time ago. It's so much better than the X-Acto blade. I mean, there's still places for the use of an X-Acto blade, but it doesn't look like it's supposed to be there. Huh. But it's a scriber. Is what that's a plastic scriber 2, and I like that it's got like kind of a blade guard built in, and it actually even comes with an extra blade already in there. But I've been using it for a while, and you really don't. I haven't had need to change it yet. It's still working pretty well, and it's also like as you're not going to probably cut yourself with this thing, and it's really easy to learn to use. You just basically drag it across, like there was a nub point right there, and you just kind of drag it across till it's smoothed out. I'm not going to go over like every single piece on this guy, but it really makes it go fast, especially on the gun itself, the barrel. There's a mold line there. It's easy. It's got this rounded area, and I've really not had any. I guess that does a pretty good job. And there's also this point here is also very good for going through like a panel line and making sure that it's nice and crisp. Sometimes the mold line gets into the panel, gets into that groove, and I usually just clean it out with my fingernail, or this scriber does a pretty good job. Now that point is pretty sharp. Yeah, you got to watch out for that. But the mold lines are real easy to find and correct with this thing. You just run it back and forth a couple times, and it's gone. You just kind of dig it out with your fingernail or something. And that's also kind of another reason why I go over these guys with hot water and some soap afterwards to clean up some of that mess. It does kind of have a static electricity to it, so you're going to want to do that again. And there's another nib on there. Just take your time and you can scribe that right off. It does a pretty good job, and you don't have to worry about, you go through some surgery or something to get your finger replaced. But the mold lines are pretty much, I mean, they're all over. Yeah, that's not supposed to be there. That's weird. Mold lines are pretty much everywhere, especially on these Necron legs and arms. You just kind of look out for them, find them, where you get a nub left over after you've used your clippers. You just scrape it down. Pretty simple. You can blow on it, get some of that excess plastic shavings off so you can see a little better. Pretty easy, pretty simple, pretty easy, and really makes your figs look a lot better if you can clean that off before you paint them. So like I said, I am definitely not a pro painter, but at least, you know, most my models, you're not going to see these, I don't know what they're called, nibs, after you've cut them off. And definitely not going to see mold lines everywhere. And you'll see them some places like, I know some guys probably get in there to those cords and like dig out every single last mold line. I'm not saying you need to do that, but you know, your mileage may vary. Maybe you want to do that. Let's see, and it's easy enough to pop this guy right off, and so that you can get into the tight spaces. This thigh right there. So you just basically do that for a little bit until you know, your level of what you want your fig to look like till you get there. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And next, or depending on how you ordered the videos, I'm going to start in on the Primaris. There's still some mold lines around here, and there's a little, no, that was just extra. And so after this guy's all finished, cleaned off, just stick them back on the base. And if you don't want to glue them together, you can just, I'd wash them off like I'd mentioned. Just get some hot soapy water again, and as he's together like this, you can just kind of stick it in the water, leave it in the water for a bit, swish it around. I wouldn't use a brush on him again, because that'd pick on something and it might pop it off. But if then you just give him a priming coat. I'd use black. I know in the Imperium books it shows just painting over plastic, and I would not suggest that. You can get a rattle can of black spray paint, and then you know, 2 and 3 just came, I think it was just a day ago, and there's some nice metallic paint in there you can start painting this guy with. But if you do want to glue them, I'll have another video up there on how you can take this guy apart and make some changes. You will need an X-Acto blade for that, and it is a little dangerous, so I do not suggest little ones do it, obviously. You need to be aware that this thing is extremely sharp and can really do some damage, and suggest that little kids do not do that, or people that are not of an age to take the responsibility. But I can show you how to get these guys glued up.